Hey, what's going on? Y'all back with another one, back with another one. This is Sunday Dailies. Sunday Dailies. I had to get my talk. Almost missed my recording. Sunday Dailies. The 21st edition. The 20th edition, we just talked about, like, I believe, Kai and the situation. And we talked about, yeah, the New York riot and reputation and all that. There's a lot going on, a lot going on. And, last week we just really got into it. Let's see what we're talking about right here, real quick. So, let's see right here. So, yeah, I was playing my Fight Night Champion that I just downloaded. It's been a while, it's been a blast. My guy's been champion. I haven't played it since the PS3 days. Play it on Xbox. Okay, yeah, we played the 20th. What we talked about? Yeah, last week we talked about people tripping about the SBE thing and they're so trigger happy with the shit. And it's getting ridiculous at this point. But we saw streams, I think, last week, and then I think Tory Lanez, he's doing a 10-year so-called bid, which he ain't gonna do. They'll deport him back to Canada. In reality, they'll give him less time in Canada than it is anything else. But I saw my son's recording yesterday, and he's spot on about the internet. And they attacked a woman and talking about, I don't care about so-called a stallion, got a male horse name. She's a clown. She's a liar in herself. But even though y'all started that, and I agree with that, he was blaming the internet for that. And I agree. I agree. And that's why Tory Lane's got those years. The internet's like a weapon now. Police can use it as a weapon. And I tell people, just be careful what you say, man. They can use that against you in court. See, the court don't care. What's so broken about all this, just goes to show you how trifling people are. They just want some attention and they just want to get it where they can fit in and whatever. So basically, what I'm saying is just be careful what you wish for, be careful how you move, and basically, I'm just saying just be mindful of that. Be mindful of that, and then that's just what it is. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. It just goes to show you that normally you just trying to see things from a different angle, but you got to understand that this society, and then the Alabama thing, we're going to talk about that as well, and I might bring it up real soon. And the young boy was justified. They say he was like a hero, but it just goes to show you the entitlement is real in the South. I try to tell you, the South is kind of crazy, and I live in the South all these years, and live two different states in the South. That's always going to be that way. As long as they put hands on these people, that's the only way you're going to deal with that. It's just the same with niggas. But these are a bunch of low class um, people, the average people. This is about classism, y'all. The people that's higher up don't care about this. All they care about themselves. Now, if it was a black person and a regular derelict redneck, no one cares really. And I'm trying to tell you, it's really the have-nots. And I'm glad someone said it on the Corey Holcomb show, and that's basically what it is. That's basically what it is. It's the have-nots versus each other, and then the higher ups is winning. I've been preaching this shit for years, and I've been trying to tell people that's coming to a head, and that's just bottom line. And that's just bottom line. And I just don't understand the fact that people just get caught up on that. And most importantly, you see this all the time, but I think people just get caught up on the little things like that. But that Alabama stuff, that is Bailey the main story for last week's. And we're gonna talk about it, my two thoughts of it. And it's just the beginning of the end. In the South, it's always been this way. The entitlement is so real. Like people are so slow and try to say it's what? No, it's a redneck problem. It's a derelict redneck problem. Like you got niggas, they need to be put down, man. We don't need that shit. We don't need that shit. So basically, the Alabama thing is a big topic. Let's talk about the Alabama brawl. Alabama has a history of racism or whatever. So yeah, man. The arrest in Montgomery, the Riverfront Brawl. I'm not gonna play no video and all that. We ain't gonna show the graphic violence. I'll read this off to you. It's like a riverfront, but it ain't shit. I've been to Alabama probably once with the Space Center. That's about it. But outside of that, I didn't go that far. Let's see if I can pull it up and read the article without video hosting. Let me see something real quick. All right, folks, let me put this on the screen for you, and I'm gonna go on mute. I'll be right back. Yeah. So we got the riverfront. We got oh shit, they're trying to hit me with that. Get off me, Association Press. Associated Press. Okay. Okay. The Harriet Riverfront docked Montgomery, Alabama to Montgomery, August 8th, 2121. That's what they say. Okay. Alabama AP bystanders trained their smartphone cameras or riverfront dock for several white boaters pummeled a black riverboat co-captain, but they couldn't have known the footage would elicit in a national conversation about racial solidarity. So that's that solidarity nonsense. That's how they're going to use it as. But really, I just saw people with trying to get money and have none, and they so entitled. This happens all the time. That's why I left my last job. I saw too much of it and I had to cut it loose and try to find something to work is not easy. But I'm doing something on the side. But y'all bear with me. But if I ever did go back to a corporation, that was the last job I had. I had to cut that loose. It was not lucrative for me long term. That's just my viewpoint of it. Yeah, the week after multiple videos showing the non-infamous brawl, the valiant defense of the outnumbered co-captain were shared widely on social media, but it's clear that the event truly taped into the psyche of the Black America and it created a border culture movement. Andrea Boyles, the sociology professor at Tulane University, said that long history of anti-black racism and attacks and the current events like magnify the attacks' impact and response. Okay, in response, but especially at the time like now, where we see the increase in anti-black racism through legislation, otherwise, whether we're thinking about history, the banning of Black history, and curriculum, excuse me, history and curriculum, and all sorts of things across the state of Florida. But then elsewhere, Boyler said, so this is why it's on the forefront of people's minds, and folks are very much tuned in, Black people in particular. Many of the August 5th ordeal on the riverfront dock in Montgomery, Alabama's capital city, steeped in civil rights history, but as long awaited answer to countless calls for help that went unanswered for the past Black victims of the violence and mob attacks. We witnessed a white mob doing this to him, said Michelle Broader, and an artist and a social justice entrepreneur. But social entrepreneur in Montgomery, describing the attack by boaters on the Black riverboat co-captain. I call it mob because that's what it was. It was a mob mentality, she added, and then it became a moment because you saw Black people coming together after being inundated with images and stories of lethal violence against Black people, including motorists in traffic stops, church practitioners, and grocery store shoppers. But the video from Montgomery struck a chord because it didn't end in the worst outcomes for Black Americans. For the Montgomery to have this moment, we need to see a win. We need to see our community coming together and we need to see justice, Broader said. Videos of the brawl showed that the participants largely divided along racial lines. Several white men punched or shoved black riverboat co-captain after he took a separate vessel to shore and tried to move their platoon boat. But the white boater's private vessel was docking a spot designated for the city-owned Harriet Second riverboat, on which is more than 200 passengers were waiting to disembark. But the video then showed mostly black people rushed to the co-captain's defense, including black teenage riverboat crew member who swarmed to the dock. But the videos also showed that the ensuing brawl that include a black man hitting a white person with a folding chair. Not surprised. Well deserved, by the way. As Friday, Alabama police had charged four people with a misdemeanor, an assault, and a folding chair. Wielding man turned himself into Friday and was charged with disorderly conduct. But Jimmy Crittrell, the captain of the Harriet II, said the Daily Beast that the thought race might have been a factor in the initiating attack on his co-captain, but the resulting melee was not a black and white thing. Actually, technically, most people say it's not a black and white thing. A lot of people try to say it is a black and white. It's not a black and white thing. That's how I saw it. I saw it as people that's trying to work. One's working for the system of the riverfront, right? And the other people's is just entitled. That's what it was. It's basically classism entitlement. But usually they use a racial element as a distraction, and that's what the guy was seeing. I'm not surprised, man. Not surprised. It's a different world right now. This is 21st century. This is wasteland culture in full effect. This right here is a great example. This is what triggers how the world collapsed right here. And the 2024 election is right around the corner. So you already know. This was our crew upset about these idiots. Kittrell also that the WACV radio station. He later explained that several members of his crew seen confronting this platoon boat party after the riverboat dock felt that they have a retaliated, which was unfortunate. I wish we could have stopped it from happening, but when you see something like that, it was difficult, and it was difficult for me to sit in there to wheelhouse watching him being attacked. Kittrell told the station, "Oh, that guy must be black." Okay, Kittrell must be black. Kittrell told the Associated Press by the phone that the city he asked him not to talk about the brawl. Major Sabbath Coleman of the Montgomery Police Department said on the Tuesday that the hate crime charges were ruled out after the department consulted with the local FBI, but the several observers noted that the presence of the hate motivation or lack thereof or the part of the platoon boat party was not why the event resorted so strongly. All these individuals having smartphones and cameras have uh democratized yeah democratized democratized okay they have it democratized media and information in the past was very narrow in scope on what the news has been reported from what perspectives of the NAACP. I would never trust what they say, a bunch of coons, by the way. President and CEO Derek Johnson said, but the technology, Johnson added, opened up an opportunity for America's whole to understand the impact of racism. It did a little bit. I mean, he's right on that point, but I don't trust his organization. A bunch of sellouts, by the way. They don't do shit for the so-called Black American. But we ain't gonna get into that. That's a whole nother topic for a different. I'll do that on the vlog stream. The impact of violence opportunity to create narrative that is most consistent to keep so-called African Americans, they say African Americans and other communities safe. But the Riverfront Brawl spawned in multitudes of memes and jokes and parodies and reenacts and even T-shirts, lifting every chair and swinging ready one shirt in a play, lifting violence and sing. The late 19th century hymn, sometimes referred to as Black National Anthem. Another meme is likened to co-captain's toss of his hat into the air to send to the bat signal in reference to that DC Comics character Batman. Once an image of the scene is captured from bystander video was altered into the immediate Marvel Comics Avenger, characters assembling through the magical portals on the docks to defend the black co-captain. Many observers on social media were quick to point out that the significance of the city and the location where the brawl took place. Montgomery was the first capital of Confederacy, and the riverfront is an area where enslaved people were once unloaded to be the sold at the auction. That's very true. That did happen. It's a lot of history. It actually did happen. It actually did happen. And that's part of it. And that's why it's so significant. Now, some people's looking at its significance, what it just said, what we said on the Association Press. That's very significant. And I'm gonna keep that in mind. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. That's why it's so symbolic in some aspects. That's why people was looking at it from racial. But if you look at it from a class perspective and race is like secondary, it's really the whole thing about it. It's still classism. Classism is a disease. It's still a problem. Race is just secondary that they've used to control others. They don't give a fuck about their own people. And I told you, Esau is dirty like that. He don't care about his own and the rejects of them and other groups. He's showing you that. It's systematic. That's all it is. And the guy, it was unfortunate the brawl happened, but hey, those people got what they deserved. They want to play, and I don't know if they had money. If they had money, hey, well deserved. That's all I gotta say. You gotta stand up for yourself. They ain't gonna help us out. This is wasteland culture. We're here now. Okay. But the area is a few blocks from the spot where Rosa Parks was arrested for disobeying bus segregation laws. See, that's why it's significant. That's why they're talking about it, because it's where Rosa Parks was in the bus incident. That's why Montgomery is so symbolic. Much of the Riverfront Brawl reaction in the emblematic of the history of Montgomery, said Timothy Welbeck, the director center of the anti-racism at Temple University in Philadelphia. This is the home of the bus boycott. This is the home of the intense radicalization of segregation and various forms of resistance today, he said. Even if there wasn't an explicit a mention of race, many people saw a white man assaulting a black man as proxy for some of the racist behavior that they have seen before. It brought about the sense of solidarity and unified fate, too, in this particular moment. But there is a lingering trauma of seeing that past black victims of violence and mob attacks suffering without help or intervention. Here was the rare event in which bystanders not only chronicled the moment, but were able to intervene and help sometimes that they saw being victimized. But in other words, notable instances such as George Floyd's murder by, we already seen that live television, Minneapolis police, bystanders were restrained because of the perpetrators were law enforcement officers. And the video of Floyd's encounter with the police filmed by a black bystander, uh, Darnelia Frazier. Yeah, Darnelia Frazier. People who can be heard pleading for the black man's life as he gasped for air with the white officer's knee on his neck. That's symbolic. It goes back to the days of this country allows shit to happen. They drunk the cup. Then it turned into all sprawl out riots all across during the pandemic period. Rough period. We talking about 2020, by the way. We talking about 2020 during the pandemic. And then we had a nigga. He said, I stand on it. But we ain't gonna mention that clown. Y'all know who I'm talking about. We ain't gonna go there. That's a shot, but you know how it is. But physically intervening to Minneapolis would take invite arrests in place that would be rescuers at the risk of the harm themselves. Historically, lynching victims were often taken from their families as the black community had to stand by the mutely. Emmett Till's family members in Mississippi were haunted by their inability to stop the white man who kidnapped and killed him. Broader and the Montgomery artist said that the conversation needs to continue. So that's about it. That's about Associating Press. I ain't gonna go too long because you already know what I'm talking about. That's the big talk of Sunday. It's the big talk of Sunday. So we ain't gonna go extra mile and go crazy and all this other stuff. Basically, what I'm saying is this stuff is a real deal. It's always been like that since the state I'm from originally, like Tennessee, and yes, I reside in Georgia. I see this all the time. Sometimes it's systematic. Sometimes it's stuff like that happen in Montgomery, and it needed to happen for us to do that, and that's what you got to do. This is wasteland culture. This is over for them. Things are changing in society, and they looking at the mind control button to see their collapse. But the people up top is pulling the strings and don't care about nobody but themselves. So there's very good, interesting conversation what Corey had to say with the other guy, the light skinned dude he had. I forget his name, but I was watching on another channel and he explained that why you want the same system that hold us down. And I agree with that because Why would you want an Edomite system that is about to be on its way out? We see this all the time. And I've been preaching this shit or teaching this shit for like 11 years, decades on this channel. I tried to do that with my original channel, but it didn't work. I couldn't have a multitude of that, and I paid for it. So I made a whole channel dedicated to that. That's why you see my views the way they are, because I'm speaking my mind on things. Why would I go on other platforms do that? Ain't nobody gonna watch. I mean, there's people gonna watch, but it's gonna be people that's gonna be interested in it. I can say what I want and things like that. But that's a whole nother story. But I'm not trying to do that. It's already been said. A lot of people have said it so many times that you can see it's right there. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents of it. Probably about the Alabama Brawl. I didn't want to speak on it during Thursday and all that. I wanted to speak on Sunday dailies. And man, just like I said, this is basically it, if you know what I mean. So with that, until next time, shalom to the people of Israel and the people of Gentiles, of course, supporting us. Shalom to y'all as well as always. And I will see you this coming Thursday Thrills, the 70th edition. It's been a long awaited stream, 70th edition. We're going to talk about it. 70 episodes or streams I done prior to that content. And you'll never see it again next year because it's going to be it. And we already know. So with that, until next time, I'm signing off and I'm out. Until next time, I'm out.